I've got a friend, Dave, who says one of the first things you need to do if you're on remote property is, well, build yourself an outhouse. I've ignored that for, well, frankly, too long. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's time to build an outhouse.
I'm out on our property in North Georgia that we call Splitwood Acres. It's a summer 2023, and we're spending more time out on Splitwood, and with that comes the need for an outhouse. I've picked a flat spot close to where we keep our camper, but not too close, and I'm just scraping the grass away here without trying to make it too uneven. Since we don't live on our property yet, I'm gonna build this outhouse over the course of a couple weekends. My plan is to build the walls at home during the week and then haul them out to Splitwood so that I can spend my time there focused on assembly, for the most part. Once I've got the frame built, I'm gonna add some 3/8 primed siding and then trim it with a flush cut router. Other than using the flush cut router bit to trim the siding, I'm building all of this with just basic tools. And let me also share, I have no construction experience whatsoever.
I've only dug about a foot down. It's rock hard. Might have to get out one of my friends here to help me. Well, if you've never seen one, that's what we call a Maddox. The only problem I have with this is, as a tall guy, this short handle practically means working on your knees or breaking your back because you're hunched over trying to use the dag blasted thing. So, like clothes, they should almost make tools in like extra large tall.
All right, enough jokes. Back to digging.
Time to call it quits. The camera's doing an amazing job of catching all the light because it's 9 o'clock at night and it's a school night. So I need to get back home because I got work tomorrow.
For you guys out there, the good book is definitely right. A truly good wife is the most precious treasure a man can find. And here's my truly good wife helping me unload these walls and then stand them up and get them nailed down. Now the next scene is one of my favorite shots from the making of this outhouse. It looks as though I become a giant and my wife becomes a really small person. Right there. Now for the base or the foundation of this outhouse, I'm using a couple of 4x6 posts that I had. These are treated lumber and I spaced them about 48 inches apart. That way the tractor could use the forks, come in, pick it up and move it when we need to. And here we're just nailing a 2x4 to the wall and then to the post on the ground. That way we can hold the wall perfectly level as best we can. That way we can get the second wall in place and nailed to it, and it'll hold itself up then. Now I gotta warn you, when you're building an outhouse, everybody's gonna have crappy jokes. Now my wife would probably tell you that she didn't help me at all, but I can honestly tell you, without any construction experience, having an extra set of hands and extra set of eyes, just someone to think things through, was invaluable. Thank you so much, baby. Alright, with this final wall in place and nailed down, it's time to start working on the front of this outhouse, which we're going to build all on site with the exception of the front door. Now I gotta say, I'm beginning to get a little excited at this point because it's starting to look like an outhouse. Now this clear corrugated plastic is an idea that I got from my friend Dave Whipple. And all you need to do is score it and tear it. And because it lets in so much light, it just makes a perfect roof for an outhouse. There are some special screws that you want to use here. They kind of have like a little rubber washer, and then just don't compress them too much. Okay, time to start building the all-important seat. Now I'm screwing these 2x4s into the wall at about 20 inches off of that treated board, which should ultimately put my seat height at around 18.5, 19 inches off the floor. Now one thing I forgot to film was installing the leftover piece of corrugated plastic from the roof on the back of this board I'm installing right here. And that's to become basically a pee shield, so when you're going to the bathroom, you're not peeing on the back of that board, you're actually hitting that plastic and then it runs right down into the hole. I realize that's kind of gross to talk about, but you gotta do it. If you're up north, you may want to use foam as a seat, but since we're down in the south here, really not necessary. I went with basically the cheapest seat that I could find at the box store. Well, all right, now we're starting to get somewhere. Let's put in a floor. I'm just gonna go with some leftover 2x6s that I had, and I'll come back later and stain those, probably with a oil and diesel fuel mix. With a majority of the floor in place, let's go ahead and put some siding on the front of this outhouse. So my plan is to cut the door out of the center of this siding and then take that home and make the door at home and bring it back and install it the next weekend. Well, my dad ought to get a kick out of this scene. He gave me that saw right there about 25 years ago when I made a comment about how much I liked his little 5 1/4 inch saw. And it just happened to have a finish blade on it, so it was the perfect tool to use. Well, it's the next weekend, and here's that door I built at home during the week. I'm having to plane a little bit off the edge here because the opening wasn't quite square. Well, for a guy who doesn't really know what he's doing, I don't think that door looks all that bad, and the handle that we found on the ground turned out pretty nice. And I think adding this trim is really going to make it look good. And you certainly don't have to add any trim like this. I mean, an outhouse can be as simple as you want it to be. For me, I think I kind of wanted to hide the fact that I didn't really know what the heck I was doing. And so I wanted to make it look as good as I could. And if I'm being honest, it was fun to build. And once I've got all this trim on, I think it needs one last thing. How about we add a splash of paint? Well, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and give us a thumbs up if you would. And lastly, write down in the comments what you thought of this build. We sure would appreciate it.